You're worthless trash, and my son deserves better than you, Vincent announced, his words slapping the room into stunned silence. I froze at the mahogany table, fork paused midair as 23 relatives turned to stare. The chandelier threw hard lines across Vincent's weathered face, sharpening the contempt there into something almost visible. You're absolutely right, sir, I said softly, setting the fork down with deliberate care. My voice was steady though my heart hammered. I folded my napkin, placed it beside my untouched plate of roast beef, and rose with the calm of someone who has rehearsed leaving 100 different times. Excuse me? Patricia's gasp trembled through the room. Silence stretched taut. I picked up my purse from the side table. Isaac looked pale. His sisters studied their plates as if the china held the answer to what had just happened. Even the youngest cousin had stopped chattering. The toxic air had turned what should have been Vincent's 65th birthday into something sour and small. Ruth, wait, Isaac called, but I was already moving toward the front door of the imposing Victorian Vincent had bought 15 years ago, the very house I had quietly helped fund through my investment company. He didn't know the anonymous investor who'd kept his projects alive was sitting at his own table. Outside, Portland's October air bit pleasant and cool. I thumbed through my phone until my attorney's name appeared. Vincent had spent the evening bragging about his newest triumph, a $15 million mixed-use complex scheduled to break ground next Monday. He'd been lavish with praise for the mysterious backer who believed in him. He had no idea that the worthless trash he'd just humiliated was the primary investor turning his boasts into reality. Hello, Patricia, I said when my lawyer answered. It's Ruth. Draft withdrawal notices for the Morrison Development Project, all funding, all partnerships, send them first thing tomorrow morning. Through the dining room window I watched Vincent gesture, probably explaining his cruelty as reasonable firmness. Patricia's voice was cautious on the line. Ruth, are you sure? That's a substantial pullout. I slid into my Tesla and smiled a grim little smile. I've never been more certain. Vincent Morrison just called me worthless trash in front of his family. Time to show him what trash can do. Satisfaction, bright and dangerous, coursed through me. Tomorrow, I knew, would be interesting. My name is Ruth Peterson. I'm 32. 3 years ago I married Isaac Morrison believing I was joining a loving family. I discovered instead that Vincent Morrison, patriarch, head of Morrison Development, self-declared real estate mogul, was one of the most arrogant men I'd ever met. His recent ventures were floundering until an anonymous investor stepped in 18 months ago. That anonymous savior was Crystalia Holdings, the firm I built after business school. I specialized in strategic commercial real estate and managed more than $50 million in assets. Isaac knew I worked in finance but assumed I was just another analyst. He had no idea the woman Vincent lectured for not doing real work was the one quietly buying up distressed properties across the Pacific Northwest, renovating them, flipping them for profit, and rescuing his father's company when it was bleeding cash. Vincent's obsession was Crowne Plaza, luxury condos, retail slots, office towers in downtown Portland, a project that needed deep pockets, permits, and political grease. For a year he'd been bragging about a mysterious investor who believed in his vision. That investor was me. Through Crystalia, I put in $3 million, leveraged my city planning contacts to secure permits, and lined up 3 construction firms that regularly partnered with my company. He assumed charm and bravado had attracted the money. In truth, I'd been quietly analyzing his work, calculating potential, and deciding his projects were worth backing for my portfolio. Isaac remained blissfully ignorant. I'd kept my business life separate because Vincent would never accept help from the daughter-in-law he considered beneath him. So I wore the mask of the dutiful housewife while running millions from my home office. It had worked, until tonight. Vincent had invited the family to toast his success and to publicly praise a backer he thought was someone else. He hadn't expected his target to be within earshot when he dismissed her. The next morning dawned gray and drizzly, Portland perfect for my mood. By 7 a.m., I was in my home office with coffee, finalizing the documents that would upend Vincent's world. Patricia had moved fast. The withdrawal notices were ready. I only needed to authorize them. Isaac texted, "I'm so sorry about last night. Dad was completely out of line. Can we talk?" I stared at the message. Isaac was a good man caught between loyalty and love. He didn't know I had been propping up his father. I had planned to keep it that way, but Vincent had crossed a line. Some slights, once inflicted publicly and cruelly, can't be undone. "I'm fine," I answered. "At work early, talk tonight." If Isaac knew what work meant, he would have dropped the phone. I pulled up the Morrison Development file. The leverage was obscene. Crowne Plaza was the linchpin. lose Crystalia's backing, and Vincent wouldn't merely lose a single development, he'd face cascading defaults and likely bankruptcy. Loans were secured against properties that depended on Crowne Plaza's projected revenue. I thought of Vincent's face last night, the smugness as he called me worthless, the family's mute complicity, the months of self-congratulation while he secretly depended on my money. At 9:30 I called Patricia. "Send the notices," I said. "All of them. I want 3 messages to land at exactly 10 a.m. One to his lawyer with the withdrawal, a text to Isaac telling him I'm the mysterious investor, and a direct message to Vincent that says, 'Don't mess with trash.'" "Ruth, this will destroy him," Patricia warned. I looked at the skyline and felt the steadiness of a decision hardening into armor. Vincent told his family my husband deserved better than me. It's time he learned the cost of that arrogance. At 10 a.m. on the dot I watched the clock. My own phone stayed quiet, but across town the messages began arriving. I pictured Vincent at his desk, congratulating himself, oblivious as his scaffolding started to topple. My phone remained silent for exactly 7 minutes. Then Isaac called. "Ruth." His voice was ragged, panicked. "I just got the most insane text. It says you're the anonymous investor Dad's been working with. That can't be right. That's impossible." I leaned back in my leather chair, strangely calm. "Why impossible, Isaac?" "Because that investor put over $2 million into Dad's projects. You work for some finance company. You don't have that kind of money." His words faltered. I could hear the city traffic through his phone. "Ruth, please tell me this is a mistake." "It's not," I said gently, but with firmness. "I own Crystalia Holdings. I've been running it for 5 years. Your father's projects have been part of my portfolio for the last 18 months. Silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Finally, he whispered. "You've been keeping Dad's company alive." "Yes, financially. I believed in the projects, but I kept it anonymous because I knew how your father saw me." Isaac let out a shaky laugh that broke halfway. Last night he wouldn't stop praising his mysterious investor, kept saying they had vision, that they understood real development. His voice cracked. "He was praising you, Ruth, all that time. It was you." I walked to the window, gazing over Portland's gray skyline. "That's the irony, isn't it? He called his investor brilliant, while calling me trash in the same breath." "Ruth, what did you do?" Isaac asked, dread thick in his voice. "That text mentioned withdrawal notices." My phone buzzed. Vincent's name lit up the screen. "Isaac, your father's calling me. I think he's just realized the truth." "Don't answer, please. Talk to me first." But I declined the call. Seconds later, my inbox lit up with frantic messages from Vincent's lawyer and then from Vincent himself, each one more desperate. "Isaac," I said, "your father is about to learn a very expensive lesson. Crowne Plaza is finished. Without my funding, he'll miss his loan payments. Within 60 days, his other properties will be foreclosed." I let the words hang heavy. The trash he humiliated was the only thing propping up his empire. "Ruth, he's my father. Can't you?" "Can't I what?" My voice sharpened. "Keep financing the man who called me worthless in front of 23 people? Keep letting him take credit for success he didn't earn?" "Isaac, I love you, but I won't bankroll contempt." Another buzz. A text from Vincent. "We need to talk immediately. There's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding," I said, showing Isaac the screen. "Your father made himself clear. Now so am I." 20 minutes later, my office door flew open. Vincent barged in, hair disheveled, eyes wild. Isaac trailed behind, looking ashamed. I tried to stop him. Isaac murmured. Vincent gripped the chair across from me, knuckles white. "This is impossible. You can't be Crystalia Holdings. That's a major firm." "Please, sit," I said evenly. "Or should I call you Mr. Morrison, since this is business?" He didn't sit. "You're a housewife. You don't have millions." I swiveled my laptop toward him. The Crystalia Holdings homepage glowing on the screen, my photo, my biography. Vincent, meet Ruth Peterson, CEO and founder, Wharton MBA, managing over 50 million in assets. His face drained of color. "No, this can't be real." "Oh, it's real. Would you like to see the numbers? Your company was bleeding out until Crystalia stepped in. I gave you the capital, the permits, the contractors, the city connections. Without me, Morrison Development would have collapsed 2 years ago." Vincent sank into the chair, the weight of truth pressing him down. "But at dinners, you just sat there." "I sat there while you lectured me about real work." while you told me to contribute something meaningful, while you bragged about the mysterious investor who believed in your vision. I leaned forward, voice sharp as glass. I sat there funding your entire lifestyle while you called me worthless. Isaac's voice trembled. Dad, every win you've had this year, it was her. All of it. I turned back to Vincent. Crown Plaza is dead. Contractors already have cancellation notices. The city knows Crystalia pulled out. Your permits are void. He lurched forward. Ruth, you can't. I have contracts, commitments. The groundbreaking is Monday. I stood and met him eye to eye. Last night you told the people closest to you that I was trash. Well, Vincent, your son deserves better. Better than a father who insults the woman who saved him. His phone rang nonstop. Contractors, officials, banks. Each call was another domino falling. You should answer, I said calmly. They'll want to know when they're getting paid. 4 hours. His empire unraveled in my office. Contractors shouted. Lenders threatened. City officials demanded answers. Isaac sat hollow-eyed in the corner, watching the collapse. Vincent paced like a caged man, rage and fear bleeding together. Finally he spun on me. You planned this. You've been waiting to destroy me. I closed my laptop with a soft click. Wrong. I intended to keep supporting you. Your projects were profitable. I changed my mind at exactly 10:07 last night. What happened at 10:07? That's when you told your family I was worthless trash. Isaac's voice was hoarse. Dad, do you get it now? She wasn't some outsider. She was family. She believed in you while you spat on her. Another call came in. Vincent answered, then froze. His lips moved silently before he lowered the phone with a shaking hand. What is it? I asked. The bank, he whispered. They're foreclosing. 60 days. Because you used Crown Plaza as collateral, I said. Pull out the foundation. The whole house falls. Vincent's face crumpled. Ruth, please. I'll apologize. I'll make it right. I picked up my bag, my voice cool and final. You'll apologize because you're ruined, not because you respect me. That isn't the same thing. I paused at the door. You spent months praising your anonymous investor's brilliance, vision, and instincts. Now you know who she is, and you'll never forget it. You never once considered that the woman you dismissed as worthless trash at family dinners might be the very person keeping your empire alive. I walked to the door, then glanced back. By the way, withdrawing from Morrison Development frees up significant capital. I'm meeting with 3 new developers next week. Portland's market is booming, and there are plenty of people who know how to respect their investors. His phone was already ringing again as I left, Isaac trailing behind. 2 weeks later, I sat in my favorite coffee shop downtown, sipping a latte while the Portland Business Journal blared its headline across the front page. Local developer files for bankruptcy after mystery investor withdraws support. The article detailed how Morrison Development had gone from rising star to ruin in just 14 days. Isaac slid into the seat across from me, looking weary but relieved. It's official, Dad filed. He lost everything, the office, the rentals, even the house. How's he handling it? Badly. He keeps saying you'll come back once you've made your point. He still doesn't get it. Yesterday he asked me to convince you to meet him for coffee so he could explain why the family needs you to reconsider. I nearly choked on my drink. The family needs me? After he called me trash? Isaac grimaced. In his mind, you're still just my wife who happens to own the company, not the person making the decisions. He can't wrap his head around the fact that you chose to invest in him, or to walk away. Through the window, I stared at the empty lot where Crown Plaza should have been breaking ground. Now a sign read development postponed. 3 rival firms had already reached out to me about projects of their own. Vincent's collapse had cleared the field. Isaac, I said quietly, your father called me worthless trash in front of 23 people. Then he expected me to keep funding him because the family needed it. That's not respect, that's entitlement. Isaac nodded slowly. Patricia called yesterday. She apologized. She said none of them realized you were the investor he kept praising. I smiled faintly. Vincent will have plenty of time to think about respect now. The fallout was brutal. In Portland's business circles, Vincent became a cautionary tale, the developer who insulted and humiliated his anonymous backer without realizing she was his own daughter-in-law. Investors withdrew, partners cut ties. Every meeting began with awkward questions about the Crystalia situation, about his judgment, about his character. No one wanted to risk aligning with a man who had mistaken arrogance for strength, and destroyed his own company in the process. 6 months later, Isaac and I attended his cousin's wedding. Vincent was conspicuously absent. Patricia approached me during the reception, her expression heavy with remorse. Ruth, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Vincent was wrong. The family knows it now. We also know you were unbelievably generous to support him for as long as you did. I accepted her apology with grace, though some damage could never be undone. Vincent never recovered. His bankruptcy destroyed not only his business but also his reputation. Friends distanced themselves. His marriage collapsed under the weight of scandal and debt. His children could never forgive the hypocrisy of a man who had survived on money from the very woman he'd demeaned. Reduced to working junior roles for other developers, he became a shadow of the mogul he once pretended to be. As I signed the papers on my newest acquisition, a gleaming downtown office complex already leased by 3 booming tech firms, I reflected on Vincent's downfall. I hadn't destroyed him, I had simply stopped enabling him. His contempt had done the rest. Sometimes the most devastating revenge is not vengeance at all, just walking away and letting people discover the true value of what they've thrown away.